Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Old Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey guys and gals, I'm Paul Ponder. I'm the host for the GTO Good Old Boys podcast show. Sitting right across from me, I got Mr. Boyd Duckett.
Paul.
He's the MLF co-founder, I guess is what you would say.
Yeah.
And Boyd, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come sit and talk with us.
Absolutely, Paul. It's always, of course, it's extremely convenient because you're right here in Guntersville.
Exactly.
With GTO and Waterfront. So,
Right.
So this is the easiest one I ever have to do. So,
Well,
yeah.
good. I just appreciate you saying that you would do it. And what we want to do today is we want to get into this mess that's going on the internet and give you a chance to sit down and tell how it is. The first question that I've got for you to get it all started, and then I'm just going to let you roll with it. I want you to cover Cayuga. I want the rules, things like that. I won't be able to say a whole lot because I don't know, but I want you to verify what has taken place over the past few months so far this year with the MLF, which I think is one of the best things that you've ever done for bass fishing. And first, how did you qualify for the MLF?
Gosh, let's see. So I guess originally you're talking about we'll go all the way back to the beginning. Yeah.
Well, no, just this year.
Oh, okay. Well, this year, so every year at Major League Fishing, since we started the Bass Pro Tour in 19,
Okay.
then we took 80 guys by invitation the original year, but we started with our 24 cup anglers and our 24 select anglers. Remember, for 10 years, we did
Yes.
the cups and selects.
Yes.
And then we, by invitation, finished that field to 80.
Okay.
And then every year since then, we've had a cut, and we cut the bottom 10 and bring in the guys from the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals.
Okay.
Now, that's since cut to 8
Okay.
shift, yeah. So now it's 8 that comes in every year from the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals.
Okay, so the bottom 8 in y'all's field of 80.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, there's 8 that's cut. 8 fulfills it and gives the new ones a chance to be where you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds great. That covered that. Now let's go to Cayuga, where talking about rule violations, things like that. Just give us a whole in-depth story of that, and if it gets complicated, it gets complicated.
Yeah, that's right. Cayuga, man. So last year at Cayuga, we had like you mentioned coming in, it's really interesting, the power of social media or the information or misinformation, right? That often,
Yes, sir.
oftentimes gets shared through social media. But basically, I think the controversy, it was primarily a spawning smallmouth event. And we had a rule, and let me cover this too, because at Major League Fishing, of course, we have the whole tournament department there in Benton, and we start with the baseline of rules so that we have an organized tournament. But at Bass Pro Tour, we have an angler board. And that angler board is made up of 8, and each has 10 constituents.
8 anglers, correct?
8 anglers on the angler board.
Okay.
And each have 10 constituents, which makes up the field of 80.
Okay.
That group is elected from the anglers. So we really, everything that can be angler-driven or an angler decision, like if it doesn't affect our revenue streams or our production, right. It doesn't affect our sponsors directly or something along those lines, we try to let the anglers do as much as they can, in which the rules would be a big part of that. We do things way different. We're real time. We're so different than anything the sport
Right.
had. We don't have to follow anything. I mean,
Exactly.
we want to do something that's fun and exciting and compelling and fun to watch. So in conjunction with the angler board, the sight fishing rule, that became the controversy because we had guys that potentially and did catch the same fish twice in the same day.
Okay.
And that was caused by the rule that was in place at the time. So I'll tell you what the rule was. Our rule said that you could not catch the same visual spawning bass twice in the same day. And you could not sight fish that fish twice in the same day. Then we defined what sight fishing is. And sight fishing is when you visually locate a bass and it doesn't have to be a better. We don't have it, we
Right.
don't have it held to that. If you visually locate a bass, you could only catch that bass once per day. But it didn't eliminate, if you didn't see that fish with your eyes, you could fish for it. And the reason it was written like that, I'm not saying it was right or wrong. As it turns out, the rule caused a lot of controversy, so it wasn't right.
Okay.
But the reason it was written the way it was is so many places we go, like here at Lake Guntersville. When they're spawning at Lake Guntersville, you get in the back of one of these pockets that's got eelgrass. Those fish will spawn down in the eelgrass. There may be 50 beds, in the back of Seabold.
Right,
And you go down
exactly.
through there, and you're pitching all those holes. Now, you may go through there with your trolling motor on high, and you'll see spawning bass. And some of the holes you won't see them. They'll go off before you get to them.
Right.
So if you weren't allowed to fish that area twice, and you went through there and you saw them with your eyes, if you could never go back there, you would cut off tons of water. The anglers didn't want that. You also probably have more anglers that fish without seeing them than seeing them. Like we've all learned, at the tour level, it takes a long time to look at one versus like here at Guntersville. If you'll stay away from those holes and just pitch to those holes, you'll go through there and catch 15 of them. In the amount of time you're spend 45 minutes trying to catch one. Trying to get up on top of them, catch one. So that was the thought behind it, is if you were visibly sight fishing, we just want you to be able to catch it once per day and leave it open so that you could go fish the area. If you went in there at daylight and wanted to throw a top of water or whatever, you could fish.
Right.
That was a purpose in the rule. Now, what caught the group was the fact that at Cayuga they were shallow and pretty lone. A lot of them were loners. There were multiple smallmouth in some areas, but a lot of them only had one. So if you came and made a cast way off, you couldn't see the bass, okay? But you assumed he was spawning. You didn't break the rule. That's the issue with Cayuga. The guys did not break a rule to catch that fish twice. They just couldn't see it twice.
Gotcha.
So if they're way back with a drop shot firing over to a bank and fan cast until they find the bed, and they come back later in the day and they never see it again, and they fan cast, they might have, we assume they caught the same one twice. You don't know that.
Right.
Because you didn't see him.
Okay.
But they catch a 411 and then catch another 411. You assume it's the same bass.
Correct.
And it probably was. But they did not break a rule. That's where the misinformation in social media went out. Now, we did a full investigation to determine that. The way we did that, of course, we're real-time leaderboards. We got onboard scoreboards. We have GPS tracking on all of our boats, everybody that fishes. And so we actually took all the GPS locations of all 80 anglers over 6 days. And they're all time-stamped. When you stop, all that's time-stamped.
Right.
And if the same day you were in the same GPS location, okay?
Right.
And you caught a bass that was, like, let's say you caught a 211. If it was 1 ounce above or 1 ounce below, then you went on a list to be polygraphed. Every single one of them.
Through GPS location.
Through GPS location. So if you were at that location, within a cast or so of that, okay, and you caught a 211 twice, then you were polygraphed to ensure that you did not physically see it twice. Polygraph question was easy. Did you visually see that bass 2 times that day? Because that was the rule. All anglers passed but one.
Right.
And we had 1 full disqualification at that event. But, unlike a lot of tournament fishing in the past, Major League Fishing has always taken rule violations, intentional or non-intentional. You got to realize many of the rule violations in bass fishing are not truly intentional or malicious. Guys make mistakes.
Right.
Guys take chances, all kinds of things. But we investigate everything all the time. And so where the public, we've caught in some rhetoric from the public, and gosh, they've always got all this going on. That's because we look at everything all the time. Other leagues don't do that and never have. They never have.
As far as look at the anglers as close as what y'all do.
Watch the anglers. They don't have the data we have. They don't know where the angler is every second of every day. They don't have cameras in every boat. They don't, they just don't chase all that. We chase everything we hear, everything, someone says, anything. So doing those full investigations, and like I say, we'll have insignificant issues, but we probably find more issues than other leagues have because our standard is 100 to 1.
So it's up here.
What we used to have. That's exactly right. But the Cayuga thing, I felt bad for the anglers involved in the Cayuga thing because other than one, who I just explained our process,
correct,
nobody broke a rule, and those guys shouldn't be looked at as if they did something wrong because they did not.
Because they did pass a polygraph.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were polygraphed if there was any question.
Every single one. It took, and everybody gives us a hard time about how long it takes us to make a decision. If you do a full and complete investigation, you can't do it that week. And we had to polygraph 23 or 4 guys.
Wow.
I mean, it takes a long time to make all that happen, to make sure you did it right. And so, I just hate it for the anglers to have, any angler that did not break a rule shouldn't, that you shouldn't carry that. You didn't do anything wrong. Now, if the rule was wrong, we discovered the hole in that rule. There's a loophole.
Okay.
And which made a problem. So we have since changed the rule moving into this year.
Let's hold right there. Let's go to a short break, and when we come back, we're going to hear the new rule from the man in the house, Mr. Boyd Duckett. Y'all stay tuned, please.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this.
Welcome to Eden's Energy and Protein. We are now open on Saturdays 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. until school is out. We offer T-bombs, protein shakes, coffee, shaved ice cream, banana splits, and last but not least, everyone's favorite, the most delicious milkshakes. Come by and see us. Don't miss out on a great sweet treat after a long day on the water. We are located right outside of Waterfront at 6955 Scottsboro Highway. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Eden's Energy and Protein. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.
Now back to more with GTO Good Old Boys.
Hey guys, we're back with Mr. Boyd Duckett. We're covering some rules now, and we have just had the explanation of the old rule for fishing for bedded fish. That rule has been changed, and I'm fixing to turn the tune over to Mr. Duckett and let him tell us what the new rule's all about.
Yeah, so not a ton of change from last year, but after the Cayuga incident, which did allow you to catch a fish twice, if you didn't see it with your eyes, right? We just talked about that. So the new rule moving forward, which is in place for this year, you cannot target the same fish twice. So if you saw him visibly anytime during practice, during the event, and you have targeted as a sight fish, bedding or not bedding, we're not trying to make an angler determine if a fish is spawning or not spawning, right?
That'd be another
gray area.
Right.
Another gray area. So if you saw a fish in that location, specific location, sight fished, with you, and you fish for him, you can only target that fish once per day. So that eliminates that situation from Cayuga. So
that right there solved a lot of problems then.
I think so.
I hope.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah.
We all believe until we find out, until some other circumstance happens.
We're going to live and learn, aren't we?
We're going to live and learn. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, there's something else that come out that's real big is cutting the field from 80 to 65 to 50. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what the decision was based on for doing it?
Absolutely. So this really provides a great opportunity for the 50 guys that will be in the Bass Pro Tour at that level. We have always, since the inception, back in 2010, when Gary and I had this idea, it wasn't to go have another tournament series because Lord knows there's plenty of them,
Right.
But it was to offer something new and exciting and maybe something that was compelling that could offer an advancement for professional anglers. We never had a set of names in the boxes. The original 24 guys were never protected. Everybody's either made the cut or gotten out. As you've watched over time, a lot of our original guys have fallen out because they fell in that bottom 10.
Okay.
And so it's never been about any group of anglers. The focus has always been on professional bass fishing and providing that opportunity really for the future. Even those of us, especially the veterans that are doing it today, we hope we're building a platform that will provide a better future with higher pay, more visibility, more media coverage. That's really the key. I mean, entry fees and payouts are what they are. Okay,
Right.
You're never going to make a bunch of money on entry fees and payouts, and all the top anglers that'll come through and be on your show, they'll tell you the same thing.
Exactly.
So it's the media platforms available to them, both what they do individually, social media and YouTube and any other content that they shoot and put out there, but definitely at their pro circuit level, their opportunity for television coverage, for live stream coverage. That gives them the impressions, the opportunity to build a fan base, and the impressions for a sponsor to see their logo, and be able to have bring value to that sponsor and get paid for it.
And that's what it's going to now, is how many can you get to watch what you got?
That's it. It's all about that. So with that in mind, one of the things that has been a challenge for us with 80. Because we're so different than anything in the past, where you had a tournament and all that ever mattered was the top 3 guys. We have a cut line that requires coverage. I mean, you watch Major League Fishing, it's all about the cut line till the final day, which means we have to have all those camera transfer boats and all those cameras moving and covering those guys. So we cover 40 a day. We have 40
exactly, 40A, 40B.
40A, 40B. The problem is the AB group, it's always been confusing to our fans, one, to have the A and B group.
Right.
Secondly, a 6-day event is about too long. We get a lot of fan fatigue having to watch 7.5 hours live stream 6 days in a row. That's a lot.
That's based on figures that y'all have already went through over the past.
That's right. So we want to cut down to a 4-day event. We also want to expand live stream into more events. So we have taken this year, starting in 24, and we've expanded our live stream to include our team series. And there's a limited amount of sponsors and airtime. I mean, you can have so much that it's oversaturation in the marketplace. So we've actually expanded our live stream now that we're including team series. Some of our other championships, the All-American's going to be live streamed, Toyota Series Championships live streamed, of course, Tackle Warehouse is always live streamed. So we have expanded greatly in live stream. But to get back to the Bass Pro Tour specifically, so we want to fish 4 days, and we feel like the max we can give the guys full coverage, the coverage they need to be recognized, to be the most recognized anglers in bass fishing, which comes from media. Okay?
Right. That's correct.
Hey,
nowadays it does.
Most popular bass fisherman in the world, Bill Dance.
There you go.
He ain't Kevin Van Dam.
Okay.
But he's the most popular. You know why? He's been on television the most.
There you go. He's been seen the most.
He's been seen.
Right.
I mean, it's media coverage. At the end of the day, media coverage equals money. So we want to be able to maximize, and we feel like 50 is the outside of who we can cover at that level.
Okay.
Run a 4-day event. So we'll have 50 boats on the water from now on. We get through this transition year, we'll be running 4-day events.
Which 2024 is a transition year.
It is. Yep.
So it's going to be cut to 65.
Be cut to 65 next year, and then 50 the following.
Okay.
So we got to go through 2 cuts. Got to go 80 to 65, 65 to 50. But then the payouts go up, media coverage for the guys go up, and I really think it provides an unprecedented opportunity for 50 top anglers. And that's the goal, man, is to try to build a platform that's better than what we've had in the past, all we've ever tried to do.
So that gives everybody else a shot at what have I got to do to get there.
That's right.
Well, there it is in black and white.
Yep.
No gray, hopefully.
Yeah, no gray. We don't
Yeah.
like gray. Yeah,
exactly.
we don't like gray.
Gray ain't good.
And then, of course, every year there'll be a cut. So every year, 5 guys get cut out of the 50, and 5 come in through the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals.
Okay,
So we'll always
so-
have 5 brand new guys coming in every year.
All righty. So you have used that based on how many you had to start with, 80 to
Yep.
65 to 50. So you're 10 or 8, I'm sorry. And
then
it
down to
drops
5.
Down to 5.
Yes, sir.
So it's based on the same thing. Y'all just narrowed it down to whereas you really got to show out.
That's right. We want the 80 top anglers in the world fishing for the most money
There you
with
go.
the biggest platform.
I got you.
Yeah.
And so, well, with saying that, let's go to another little break and we'll get back here in a minute and close her out.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Welcome to Eden's Energy and Protein. We are now open on Saturdays 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. until school is out. We offer T-bombs, protein shakes, coffee, shaved ice cream, banana splits, and last but not least, everyone's favorite, the most delicious milkshakes. Come by and see us. Don't miss out on a great sweet treat after a long day on the water. We are located right outside of Waterfront at 6955 Scottsboro Highway. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Eden's Energy and Protein. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.
Now back to more with GTO. Good old boys.
Hey guys, we're back with Mr. Boyd Duckett here, and we're going to cover up one other little issue here. And you just open it up and go with it.
All right. Well, there's not been a podcast we haven't talked about forward facing.
Okay, let's go with forward-facing sonar.
And mostly, what made me think about that, we just had our event up at Dale Hollow.
Yes.
And I want to say, before we get into that part, man, what a great fishery Dale Hollow is.
Really? I've never been on it.
Dale Hollow, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's at Byrdstown, Tennessee, which is a beautiful old southern community. Really, really nice community. A lot of it's been restored. One of the coolest things I saw while I was up there, they had an old Gulf station from like Gulf gasoline station.
Yes, I remember.
Service station, probably from the mid-1950s. And the city completely restored it to automobiles on the racks, to the old original pumps with the bulbs up on top, and all the whole service station, tools, equipment, automobiles. It was like it was in service, but it's a museum.
Oh, okay.
It's that the city restored as a museum. That was one of the cool, I don't know, just stuff like that.
I thought you were fixing to tell me you went and got gas out of that.
No, I didn't get gas out of it. But that was a really cool place. But what a great fishery. And when I lived in Nashville, years ago, we were just talking about that during the off time, little time in the music business. But I was there till from 82 to 95. And I used to fish Dale Hollow in the 80s. That's a long time ago. And it was just really a special place it's the world record smallmouth bass. In fact, I'm going to show you when this show's over. I've got a picture. I shot it this past week of the actual world record smallmouth bass.
Really?
I have that. I found that fish is at the Chamber of Commerce in Byrdstown, Tennessee. The family of the original guy that caught it in 1955. It's that old.
55.
Fish weighed 11 pounds and 15 ounces, so almost 12 pounds. Smallmouth. Can you imagine?
How'd he get it in?
I have no idea. I mean, it was all I could do to catch a 4-pounder. I don't know how he caught a 12. I don't know how he caught a 12-pounder. But what an outstanding fishery. But hats off to Jacob Wheeler for a dominating win on the final day. And, talk about forward facing. I mean, there it is again, where these guys, and I don't want to talk about whether it's good or not good or should be in it or shouldn't be in it.
Right,
There's 100 podcasts talking about that. But I do want to say this about forward facing. And, being an old guy with a lot of experience, I started traveling in 1977 tournament fishing. And so, I learned differently than today, right? But it's so much. It's not as much about the equipment as the world thinks it is. Like forward facing is equipment and all that, but everybody talks about the equipment. Well, let me tell you, it's about the technique. It's not just about the equipment. Because when you go somewhere like Dale Hollow, and a lot of the guys, Bass Pro Tour has 80 of the top anglers in the world in it.
Correct.
And most of them couldn't catch them.
Wow.
Just a few could catch them, because there's so much difference in learning that technique and becoming proficient at it, whether you're young or old. But it is very technique specific. So, that's kind of the point that seems to always get left out. It seems to always be about the equipment. But hey, those that are listening, I'm going to guess if it's like everywhere I've been, more than 50% of you now own it.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Probably closer to 75% if you're tournament anglers.
Yep.
And buying it does not make you catch them.
Boy, it looks good.
It does look good. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it sure helps crappie fishing.
There
yeah,
you
it
go.
does help crappie fishing. But it's amazing. It's been fun for me to watch the evolution in the technique, in specifically how to recognize when a fish is catchable and not catchable, when they react but turn away, the adjustments you make to the bait, the adjustments you make to the technique, the head size, the bait, and all that. That's been fun to watch that
Evolve.
Evolve, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, you just told the folks what to do if they're out there and they come up and they see them, they react, try something different.
That's right. Try something different, because I promise you, you can catch them, but you got to keep trying. You got to keep working till you figure out what it is that they'll bite, and don't be afraid to, get you a bunch of forward-facing style minnows, jig heads,
Crappie baits.
Yeah, crappie, oversized. Yeah. 3, you need 2 to 4 inch baits, a bunch of them. But changing colors and styles of the bait and weight size, and also technique on how you shake or not, how far above them to hold it, how close you can get to the image. This was something for me. I spent a lot of time last year messing with trying to learn it.
Yes,
I don't know
right.
it. I don't know it like Wheeler knows guys that are whipping us all. I don't know it, but I have learned enough to know that it's different from lake to lake. And that when you see your bait, you have to be careful how close you get to that image. Early on, I was trying to get right there with them,
right,
and they won't bite it. You'll run them off, and so you want to generally stay above them, and you got to figure out what that distance is. And a lot of times when they start to react, I have learned if I try to take it away from them, that they'll come after it. As opposed to slowing it down. Everybody wants to let it down there with them.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Then they don't want to bite it when you let it down there with them. You kind of want them to have to chase it to make most of them bite. So it's a really interesting technique. It's like learning how to throw a jerkbait all over again.
Wow.
And it's no different, by the way. So, back in the day, 15 years ago, if Van Dam was catching them on a jerkbait
yes.
and beating us,
yes.
the worst thing you could do is tie one on, because you can't catch them. Okay? Because Van Dam was catching them on a jerkbait,
right. Don't mean you can't.
You're going to waste a day of your tournament if you try to catch them like he's catching them, because he can do things, especially back then, that the rest of us couldn't do. Forward facing's the same way. Just because Wheeler goes and catches 122 pounds doesn't mean you're going to qualify on it.
Exactly.
Because it's that technique specific. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, if you like it and you enjoy it, keep trying and keep willing to change. Just don't keep throwing the same thing.
And if you don't, try to get accustomed to it. Learn something new. I sit out there and it's hard for me to learn something new at my age.
Yeah, I hear you.
But you've got these guys out there that's proven there's a place for it.
There's definitely a place for it. A lot of fish being caught on it. So.
The more ammunition you got in your gun, the better off you're going to be.
The better off you're going to be when you get in that firefight with the bass.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Exactly. Now that carries us to 122 pounds. Okay, let's go back and find out. Y'all caught every fish. Then y'all did the 5 biggest, and now you're back at every fish again. Tell us why you went to 5 fish and then went back to what you started with.
Absolutely. So we've always been every fish count since 2010 with the Cubs. That was one of the kind of cool, compelling things about Major League Fishing, was to expand the game so there was more to watch than the top 3 guys. Okay. So we've always had a cut line, and you always have guys coming in and out of the cut. And so we went for a long ways with that. So go back to year before last. We did what we did, and we had real-time scoring, and it was fun and exciting to watch. But a lot of the fans and our anglers wanted to see what it was like if you had real-time scoring, you had a cut line, but it was at 5.
Okay.
Now,
Yes.
5's much slower, but would it still be compelling? Would you still have guys coming in and out? So that's why last year we went to 5 bass, was to try that. Now, the results of that, though we still had some great shows and we had some close finishes, it did what maybe we thought it would anyway.
Right.
It slowed it down so much that was noticeable in our live stream duration. So, and remember, when you're in the media business, golf, NFL, any sport, when you're in the media business, we sell impressions.
There you go.
We sell people and the amount of time they're there. When you're digitally
Gotcha.
streaming, it's duration of minutes, total number of uniques, and duration of minutes.
Okay.
So we had about the same number of uniques last year. Actually, we had an increase, slight, like 2.5% increase in unique visitors. But our duration was much shorter because people would just check in because nothing happens. Guys at 18th, he's just an 18th at that point because you got to catch a 6-pounder or something, where every fish mattered with the every fish count. So it's just more exciting, and it keeps the needle moving, it keeps the cut line moving,
And really, the fans done it.
and the fan, it's right, it's fan reaction. We went back to what the fans wanted to watch.
And so, you let the anglers make the decision.
Yep.
Okay, we're counting all of them.
Yep.
Okay, now let's see what it's going to do here. The anglers made that decision, and then the anglers made the decision to go back to all fish.
Because we just we don't get the duration of time,
Right.
Really, the fans made the decision because they don't watch as long.
Exactly.
They don't watch it as long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. They
That's
defined the moment.
They
didn't
defined the moment for us. So we're going
That's
to give
it.
them what they want.
Well, why don't you just, in closing out, let us know how Ducket Fishing is doing, how Ducket Baits are doing. I see that, and we carry a lot of your stuff out in there, both our stores, and we really appreciate you letting us carry them.
Yes, sir. No,
And,
I appreciate you. We sell a lot of product through GTO and up here at Waterfront, and we really enjoy that. And you're always been kind enough to that you can be a guinea pig if we have a brand new product. We're super excited about it. We bring it to you.
Yeah.
We're like, man, put it out there and let's see what the world thinks of it.
Yeah, and we'll jump on it.
That's right. And you've always jumped on it, but we're I guess like everybody else, we're focused a lot on some forward-facing products. So we
Okay.
have some new baits coming out. We have some heads, some stroller type heads that we're, I was playing with samples today. We're getting some final samples in. We've got several new minnow baits that are designed to shake, that are very different. They're a super soft type plastic and
Sakamata type.
kind of similar to that. Yep,
Okay.
kind of similar to that. And then we also have our existing subtle tails. You've sold a pile
Which
of them.
always has been a good seller.
It's
Yes.
which is a paddle tail bait, but it's a tiny paddle tail, and it's got a long membrane of plastic that's in between the tail and the body, so the tail barely moves. Like that's why we call it a subtle tail.
Oh, okay.
It almost does nothing. Really, it looks like if you swim it by in the water, it looks like it does nothing, which is good. Okay,
Exactly.
which is good.
Got a time and place.
That's it. But we came out with a 3-inch this past year, and that 3-inch has caught fire, and we sell a bunch of the 3-inch subtle tails now. So that one's turned out, and a lot of that's forward facing, and you can pitch it at them.
Right.
It gets down to them quick, and you don't have to necessarily shake and do all that. Most of the time, they'll just react to that little tiny tail.
Oh, so you just got to figure out how far from them to get.
That's it, and stay above them.
Right.
Remember to stay above them, and then pick you a nice steady cadence on a retrieve, and
Do you always keep your bait moving?
always keep your bait moving. And then what you're always trying to do is figure out how far away they can see it without getting any closer than you have to, because the faster they come at it, the better chance you got of them swallowing it.
All right, is it better for the clearer the water, the better for the forward facing?
Clear water helps a lot because those fish see farther.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
But
always
can
seems
they
to me.
feel the vibration or anything?
I'm sure they can. Yeah,
See,
the
I-
lateral line. I'm sure they pick some of it up, but I've noticed like in stained water, you really have to get the bait close to them.
Okay.
For them to react. And that clear water, like you could be 10 feet from them in that clear water, and they can easily see a 3-inch minnow.
And they'll react.
And they'll react
Come
to it.
right up to it.
Yeah, it's amazing how perceptive they are. They either have great eyesight or a combination of that in their lateral lines.
Right.
But they know what's going on in their world more than we give them credit for. They know.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, that right there just about covers it. And how can they find your baits as far as Ducket fishing? Do you want to give your
Sure. Yeah.
website?
We're available. A bunch of retailers. GTO Waterfront, obviously, right here. But you can go to ducketfishing.com. And you can check our retailers, what part of the country you're in, and we'd love for you to have some. If you can't buy one anywhere, you can buy direct from us.
Guys, y'all have heard it here. Mr. Boyd Duckett, thank you so much again, Mr. Duckett, for coming and letting us know what it's all about, and thank you for your time. And I wish you the best of luck in the next few years, and sooner or later, you're going to be ahead of Ray Scott if you keep it up.
Well, I don't know about all that, but we're just doing the best we can.
That's right. Just keep it up.
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day and keep your lines tight.